Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I thought it would be interesting if we looked at 10 bizarre phobias. I found a great list, so let's go through it together. And if you do want to check out the article, I will link it in the description below, so be sure to check it out. Now, let's see if either of us have any bizarre phobias. The hardest thing with this will be trying to actually pronounce the phobias. I can already tell that this is going to be a problem. Xanthophobia proves that a color can be menacing. Fear of color, especially the color yellow, seems to be particularly bizarre. Many individuals develop a fear of yellow as a child after being stung by a bee. I have been stung by a bee, but I've never thought of I've never made that connection. As a result of this phobia, victims will close their eyes in anxiety or have panic attacks when witnessing something such as a daffodil. Those who suffer this describe being unable to eat cheese, lemonade, eggs, or bananas. Wow, that would definitely be very tricky. Well, I can say that I definitely do not have xanthophobia. Turophobia means no cheese. This phobia is built around fearing cheese. Katie Weston develops cheese phobia after an experience as a child where cheese caused her to throw up in her friend's trash bin. It's a traumatic memory, one that has kept her eating cheese her whole life. My friend was putting a cheese string on my face and it was making me really anxious. Her phobia has interfered with her work at a restaurant. Alright, if you had a fear of a food, why would you work at a restaurant? I have to call out some serious BS with that. So I'm guessing that this isn't really a proper phobia in the respect that it's not one that a lot of people suffer from, and it's just one that this one girl has suffered from. Alright, well this is a better explanation. People fear cheese often because of their gooey appearance and cheesy taste. So that makes more sense rather than I threw up in my friend's trash can after eating cheese, so now I can't eat cheese. Hylophobia causes people to fear nature. Apparently this is one of the more understandable phobias. Many people who suffer from hylophobia will become overcome with social anxiety and have an urge to flee. Not only that, but many will break out in screaming fits, the likes of which can only be seen in the worst. These people are scared that they will get lost or abandoned in forests. This website isn't really describing these phobias very well in my opinion. They've put here hylophobia causes people to fear nature. Well, nature is a very broad term. Nature can be animals, it can be plants, etc. Hylophobia is the fear of forests. And that makes more sense. Omphalophobia, which causes people to fear their own body parts. So this fear is a fear of your belly button. The phobia does not simply pertain to fear of others' navels, but fear of their own as well. One of the more famous victims was singer Jenny Frost, who warned people against touching her navel area. Apparently Khloe Kardashian has this. She feels disgusted touching her belly button because of the presence of the belly button. Apparently this phobia stems from a negative experience or event that has become associated with the body part. Why though? I've never really I guess that's the thing, right? We don't really understand phobias that we don't have because it's oh, why would you be scared of that? But I kind of wish there was some sort of example as to why somebody, an example of somebody explaining where they believe their phobia has stemmed from, because a fear of your belly button, that's very kind of specific in a way. It's a normal part of the body. It's like saying, oh, I fear my hand. Why? Why do you think you fear your hand? So I definitely wish there was a better, just an example given of somebody explaining their experience with it. Nomophobia is a product of technological advances. Why can I never pronounce that word? This is so embarrassing. Nomophobia is a term describing a growing fear in youth. The term is an abbreviation for no mobile phone phobia, which was coined during a 2010 study by the UK Post Office. Alright, if there's any phobia that's a product of the 21st century, it's nomophobia, or the fear of being out of cellular contact. I kind of wonder if this is a legit phobia, or this is just something that the media and stuff have drummed up or created. I mean, we all know that people do love stereotyping millennials, oh, they're obsessed with their technology, they couldn't live without it. And I kind of wonder if this phobia is legit, or if it's, being born from a place of stereotyping millennials and being oh, young people can't live without their phones. And then the question is this phobia real, or do people who use their phone to that extent suffer from other sort of mental illnesses and conditions such as social anxiety, and that's actually what they have, as opposed to, oh, you have nomophobia? Because if you take somebody who always holds their phone in their hand when they're in a public space, on a train or on a tram, you know, they're probably like looking at their phone so that they don't have to communicate with those around them because they have social anxiety. If you take that phone out of their hand, they're probably gonna, you know, they're gonna feel that anxiety, maybe even have a panic attack. And I don't think it's so much they fear not having a phone for the sake of having a phone. They simply have social anxiety, and this was their safety net. This is what they relied on. So the underlying problem isn't nomophobia, it's social anxiety. Ombrophobia may have its origins in the hardships of our ancestors. I am seriously just going to Google all of these so I get a good, simple idea of what it is. Alright, so you fear the rain. From love scenes to dramatic action sequences, rain rarely is portrayed as harmful or negative. But don't tell that to ombrophobes. Why do I find this word so like sticky to pronounce, like it's sticky to say? Even the slightest drizzle can cause sufferers to have panic attacks or visions of being swept away in a flood or rain. Rooted in our ancestral fear of landslides and heavy rains that had and continued to threaten cities and people, like we're currently seeing with Hurricane Harvey and its catastrophic impact on Houston this week. I definitely think that if you've ever experienced a tragedy, you know, such as a hurricane, you know, you're going to have that fear. So that does totally make sense. I actually don't find that to be quite bizarre because this is just a form of PTSD for some people. Papophobia may be a result of controversy surrounding Catholic Church. So, apparently there is a fear of the Pope. I'm a little confused by this one. The pathological fear of the Pope. Why? So apparently one theory argues that sufferers just have a fear of sacred things and the Pope is the why can I not pronounce anything today? Manifestation of those irrational anxieties. Uranophobia. This one is actually so interesting. Uranophobia, which is the fear of heaven. Apparently, for some people, the idea of heaven is very overwhelming and it causes them to feel sick, lightheaded, and have intense terror at the thought of heaven. A lot of people, like not making it sound like 1 in 3 people. Some people actually fear heaven, and it comes from a place, I guess, of deep belief and feeling like they're not actually good enough or worthy enough to enter the gates, to pass through the gates into God's holy city. So that's actually quite interesting. Ugh. All right, I actually do have this one. Trypophobia. I see these pictures on the internet every so often where people talk about it and it freaks me out. I don't like it. I avoid it to the point of, yeah, it really irks me out. So we're just gonna skip over the picture and we're just going to, I'll just explain what it is. Trypophobia. Apparently psychiatrists deem that the victim's symptoms are not worthy of the status of phobia. Other psychiatrists hold that the feelings of anxiety and uncomfortableness when viewing patterns or shapes resembling small holes warrants it being considered a legitimate phobia. Now, I can talk about this one from my angle. When I see these photos, it makes me feel uncomfortable, and then I kind of like, I really regret that I viewed it and I kind of wish that I didn't, and I'm like, how am I going to get that out of my head? But I don't know why. I don't know why it makes me feel uncomfortable. There's something off about it. Like, those patterns shouldn't exist. That's kind of like what my brain is telling me. Like, don't look at that because that's not correct. Apparently some people actually experience this with waffles. I love waffles, so I'm very thankful to say I do not experience it with waffles. Yes, so some psychologists have suggested that it's more of a discomfort and an uneasiness than a phobia. That's what I would say that I have, although I do not like the prospect of potentially seeing those photos, so that is a fear. Like, phobia is a fear, you fear something. I think a lot of people do have this one. If you do, please comment below and tell me why the hell you also feel uncomfortable and do not like the small little hole patterns. Next one, triskaidekaphobia. I'm so glad that I can properly and fluently pronounce this, and I will laugh if I actually have mispronounced it, but triskaidekaphobia has become a part of American culture. So this is the fear of the number 13. I only recently learned that in America, a lot of hotels do not have the 13th floor. It just goes 12, 14, 15. We all know what 13 is linked with. You know, it is linked with bad luck and the paranormal. Judas, as mentioned on this website, was the 13th individual to join Jesus's disciples, and he was also a traitor, so it's just always been linked to negativity. And that is it. That is all the phobias that I have for you today. If you suffer from a bizarre phobia, do let me know in the comments below what it is. And if you identify with any of these, be sure to also let me know. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And do not forget to check out my other videos, which will be linked at the end of this one. So there you go. That was 10 bizarre phobias. I hope that you learned something interesting. I know I did. The most interesting phobia from this list by far has to actually be, for me, the fear of heaven. So yeah, there you guys go. I will see you next time. Bye.